It is sometime after midnight on July 6, 2012. Three 16-year-old girls are standing in a wooded area just across the Pennsylvania state line. They drove here together. They have been best friends for years. Two of them have knives hidden in their hoodies. The third one doesn't know that. At some point, two of the girls count out loud, 1, 2, 3, and then they stab their best friend to death. But to understand how three girls who grew up together ended up in those woods that night, we need to go back to the beginning. Skylar Neese was born on February 10, 1996, in Star City, West Virginia, a small suburb just outside Morgantown. She was an honors student, described by her parents as hardworking and ambitious, with a bright future ahead of her. She had a part-time job at Wendy's. She was a sophomore at University High School, and she had two best friends she had known for years, Shelia Eddy and Rachel Schoaf. Shelia and Skylar had known each other since they were 8 years old. They had grown up together, gone through middle school together, and stayed close all the way through high school. Skylar's mother, Mary, said later that the two of them were inseparable. Rachel had joined the group during their freshman year of high school, and the three of them became a tight unit, always together at school, driving around late at night, spending time at each other's homes. On the evening of July 5, 2012, Skylar came home from her shift at Wendy's. She lived with her parents, Dave and Mary Neese, in a ground-floor apartment in Star City. At some point that night, she pushed a bench under her bedroom window, climbed out, and left to meet her friends. The apartment building's surveillance camera captured her at 12:30 a.m. on July 6th, climbing out of the window. She got into a light-colored sedan waiting nearby, and the car drove away. She was never seen alive again. The next morning, Dave and Mary found the bench still pushed against the wall and the window screen sitting in Skylar's closet. She had placed it there carefully before she left. She had planned on coming home. Her cell phone charger was still plugged in. Her contact lens solution was still on the nightstand. She had not taken anything that suggested she wasn't coming back. She was just gone. Her parents called the police. Investigators began reviewing the surveillance footage and quickly identified the car. It took until early fall of 2012 to confirm whose car it was. When detectives confronted Shelia Eddy about the timeline, she had already been caught in inconsistencies. She finally admitted the car was hers. She told police she had picked Skylar up, they had driven around for a while, and she had dropped Skylar off near her home about an hour later. She was lying. While investigators worked to find gaps in her story, Rachel Schoaf and Shelia Eddy went about their lives. They called Dave and Mary Neese constantly. Shelia called so often that Dave said he thought she genuinely cared. She helped put up missing person flyers. She assisted in the search. She posted on Twitter about how much she missed her friend and how worried she was. Both girls sat with the family. Both girls cried. Meanwhile, a student at University High School had overheard conversations between Schoaf and Eddy in which the two discussed what they had done and how they had disposed of the body. The student said nothing, assuming the girls were joking. Months passed. The FBI joined the investigation in September 2012. Investigators continued interviewing classmates and reviewing digital evidence. Cell phone records and convenience store surveillance footage near the route the girls had described were creating holes in their story that were getting harder to explain. Investigators knew the girls were hiding something. They did not yet know what. In late December 2012, Rachel Schoaf had a breakdown. Her mother called 911. In the background of the call, Schoaf could be heard screaming. She was taken to a psychiatric hospital where she stayed for 5 days. When she was released, she asked to go directly to her lawyer's office. On January 3, 2013, Rachel Schoaf confessed in full. She told investigators that she and Shelia Eddy had planned Skylar's murder in advance. The plan had been simple and deliberate. They would pick Skylar up at night, tell her they were going to smoke marijuana together, and drive her across the state line to a remote wooded area. They had packed the trunk of Shelia's car with everything they thought they would need: kitchen knives hidden in their hoodies, bleach, paper towels, cleaning cloths, a shovel, and clean clothes to change into afterward. They had intended to bury Skylar's body. When they got to the woods and tried, the ground was too hard and rocky. They could not make a dent in it. They dragged Skylar's body to a spot next to a large tree, covered it with branches, and drove home. When investigators asked Schoaf why they had done it, her answer was 3 words: "We just didn't like her." That was the explanation she gave. She and Eddy had decided they didn't want to be friends with Skylar anymore and didn't know how to handle it. State Police Corporal Ronnie Gaskins, who interviewed Shoaf, confirmed her words publicly. "We asked Rachel, 'Why did you guys kill Skylar?' And her only answer to that was, 'We just didn't like her.'" Later testimony added a layer of context. During a 2023 parole hearing, Shoaf acknowledged that she and Eddie had developed a secret romantic relationship and that both of them feared Skylar, who knew about it, might tell someone. "After things became known with the relationship, there was tension between us," Shoaf said. "It was hostile and violent. In our teenage minds, we didn't know how to handle the conflict and we just wanted it to stop." Skylar's parents have consistently said their daughter would never have exposed her friends' secrets. Her mother said Skylar had many gay and lesbian friends, and it didn't bother her at all. After her confession, Shoaf agreed to help lead investigators to Skylar's body. She also agreed to wear a wire and attempt to get Eddie to incriminate herself. That effort failed. But investigators then executed a search warrant on Eddie's home, seizing her computer, phone, tablet, kitchen knives, and the Toyota Camry she had been driving. FBI analysis of the car found Skylar's blood DNA in the trunk. Sheila Eddy was arrested on May 1, 2013, in a restaurant parking lot. Skylar's remains had already been found. On January 16, 2013, just under 6 months after she disappeared, her body was located in a wooded area in Wayne Township, Greene County, Pennsylvania, less than 30 miles from her home. She had been lying there, covered in branches, since the night she was killed. Authorities confirmed she had been stabbed more than 50 times. Rachel Shoaf pleaded guilty to second-degree murder on May 1, 2013. On February 26, 2014, she was sentenced to 30 years in prison with eligibility for parole after 10 years. At sentencing, she apologized to Dave and Mary Neese. Sheila Eddy pleaded guilty to first-degree murder on January 24, 2014, the day her trial was set to begin, reportedly because she feared additional charges from Pennsylvania authorities since the murder had been committed across the state line. She was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 15 years. She declined to address the court. She offered no apology. Dave Neese told the judge at sentencing, "My life and my wife's life have been drastically altered. We're no longer a family. You can look into the eyes of those who were responsible, but you can never know what they heard as they were taking her life." Both Sheila Eddy and Rachel Shoaf are currently incarcerated at the Lakin Correctional Center in West Columbia, West Virginia. Shoaf has been denied parole twice. Eddy becomes eligible for parole review in 2028. In the aftermath of Skylar's death, her parents worked with West Virginia lawmakers to pass what became known as Skylar's Law, legislation that changed the state's Amber Alert system to require alerts to be issued for all missing children, even in cases where abduction has not been confirmed. The wooded area in Pennsylvania where Skylar's body was found has been transformed into a memorial for her. Skylar Neese was 16 years old. She had pushed a bench under her bedroom window and climbed out to meet two people she had known most of her life, people she trusted completely, on a night that was supposed to be nothing more than a late drive with her best friends. She had left her window screen inside her closet. She was planning to come home.